The Black Native American Triangular Trade. When Europeans arrived in the United States, they found black Native Americans on the prime farming lands of New England, the Southeast, and the Midwest. The first slaves in the United States were not Africans. The first slaves in the United States were black Native Americans. Whites forced over 100,000 Native Americans to cultivate tobacco, rice, and indigo. As a result, many black Native Americans were exterminated or sold into slavery after they had wars with the whites or other Indian tribes. Like people in Africa, the Native Americans sold each other into slavery for guns and cheap goods. The whites concentrated on encouraging the Indians to fight each other so they could buy the losing tribal members as slaves. They also kidnapped Native Americans and made them slaves. Because the black Native Americans were farmers, they concentrated on enslaving black Native Americans. The original triangular trade did not involve Africa. In the first leg of this trade, New England slavers would go to the West Indies and buy sugar. They would take the sugar back to New England and make it into rum. After making the rum, New England slavers would sail to Virginia and buy Native American slaves and take the slaves and rum to the West Indies and start the trade over again. Black Native Americans who were not sold into slavery had to identify themselves as free-colored, the same as freed African slaves. This was done by the government to make sure that black Native Americans would lose their rights to land stolen by the whites. Since most black Native Americans were sold into slavery or identified as free-colored, they did not mix with whites. This led to the lost history of the black Native Americans. Instead of being able to tell the story of their great nations that they built before the white man came to America, the black Native Americans were instead enslaved, and in slavery they remained until the end of slavery after the Civil War.